Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of the Gridiron Glory podcast here with Will and Tad. We're here to bring you extensive coverage of all 32 teams in the league, and we're here to talk to you today about the New Orleans Saints. Let's get into the topic of the New Orleans Saints. Tad, we look at these two quarterbacks, Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. And, obviously, it is very interesting, both going on. Reports have it they both have had strong moments during training camp. Even in their most recent preseason game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Shuck started the game, but Spencer Rattler did lead a late game time drive. So right now the competition is extremely close even at the time of this report in training camp. They're saying with Shuck started the game and had a decent showing, completing 15 of 22 passes for 165 yards, but also threw an interception that was returned for a touchdown. You hate to see that. With Spencer Rattler, came off the bench and led a late game drive that resulted in a touchdown and 2-point conversion, tying the game. He completed 7 of 11 passes for 53 yards and also led the team in rushing with 22 yards. While they're saying Suck had a slightly better statistical game, Rattler's late game heroics and overall performance made the competition very tight. So this is obviously a big ongoing thing for not rookie head coach, but first year head coach for the New Orleans Saints, Kellen Moore. And boy, while he's having to decide between these two quarterbacks, he very well, he's having to decide between two quarterbacks. And honestly, he's a guy that could just throw on some pads and go out there and be better than both these guys.
Yeah, I mean, Kellen Moore with what he did at Boise State, that was incredible. And then he never really got a fair shake in the NFL as a quarterback, in my opinion. With that being said, the guys they have, Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, it's going to be an interesting quarterback battle. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the type of battle that even goes into the season. Like we could see both guys getting some starts into the season. That really wouldn't surprise me. There's a few other situations like that, but there's not really a clear cut number one and number two guy. I think either of them could do what they do, and I don't really think there's a lot of separation. I don't think we're going to see a lot of separation even into the season.
My personal take and opinion is if you're talking about long term potential, I feel like you could develop Rattler a little bit more for the long term. You could keep him around and develop him, especially with his mobility factor. Tyler Shuck is a guy where you kind of have to get him developed like almost like immediately, get him going on the right track, just given, his age and he's not going to be like, a Patrick Mahomes or a Joe Burrow or anything like that. But, you know, I just truly believe the quarterback that has more potential for long term development probably would be Spencer Rattler, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably would be Spencer Rattler. That's definitely there's I could see an interesting team there. I mean, I know that Shuck had some big moments at Louisville, like that big upset they pulled against Clemson, stuff like that. So he had some good moments in college too, but I think I tend to agree about Rattler. I think he might have more long-term potential even, but we'll see. And honestly, I'm not even sure if the franchise quarterback of the future, I'm not even sure if he's on the roster at this moment. I think they might be thinking about who they're going to draft in the next couple years even. So a lot of questions there in the quarterback room, but with that being said, I mean, Chris Olave is a good place to start off with in the skill positions. I know Chris Olave, when he's healthy, he has potential to be one of the better receivers in the division, possibly in the league. I'd say when healthy, he's potentially around a top 15, top 20 receiver in the league.
Yeah, Chris Olave, no question and doubt about it. One of the best route runners in football. Extremely well at running his routes precisely, getting open. And as you mentioned, when healthy. And let's not forget, he is coming off of a season where he did sustain a concussion last season, Tad. So he was a bit banged up last year. So you're hoping that Chris Olave can come back and have a fully healthy season and get back to that player that he once was, the former first rounder out of Ohio State.
Yeah, certainly hoping for the best for him. And then you also have Rashid Shaheed, who he's a speedster. He also missed a lot of time last year, but he's a true speedster. He's not going to wow you with his routes in the same way that Olave is, but if he gets behind the defense, then they could be in for a long day if he's running by them because you're not going to catch him.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Rashid Shaheed, to me, if anything, certainly has that dynamic speed factor. So Shaheed is still a player that needs lots of developing. But when you got guys like Chris Olave, when you got guys like Brandon Cooks around you, you know, I'm honestly the wide receiver room for the Saints. Um, probably their I don't know, probably on the whole team, probably their best core and unit.
If they can stay healthy, that's the big thing. I know there was a lot of injuries last year, but they do have some potential in the wide receiver room, that's for sure. They have some guys there that are doing what they do and some interesting pieces behind them. So I think that might be one of the strengths. What's your take on Alvin Kamara, the running back, going into his eighth, ninth season now, even? So how do you think he's going to do in more advanced stage of his career?
Alvin Kamara obviously not getting any younger, but I still believe that Alvin Kamara is one of the top tier running backs in the league. Definitely a top half starting serviceable running back. And especially even in terms of fantasy there too. So I mean, yeah, has he kind of hit a little bit of a decline? Sure, but he's still gonna come out here, do what he needs to do when he's called upon to carry the football for either Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck.
I mean, Kamara is certainly a reliable dual threat running back. He can run the ball. He's still solid out of the backfield. So definitely one of the players on this team to watch out
Um,
for.
and I mean, you also went out and drafted Devin Neal, the running back out of Kansas, to add to that running back room as well. Touching on that, so maybe even now Kamara's in a point where he mentors younger guys, and maybe that's just kind of his thing, mentoring some of the younger guys to develop.
Yeah, and I know for a while they were high on the backup Miller as well. So we'll see how the running back room shakes out there. Touching briefly also on the tight end room, we have Juwan Johnson, the 2020 draftee, Taysom Hill, the seasoned veteran, Foster Moreau. So what do we think about the tight end room? For me, I think it's kind of an average, maybe slightly below average level tight end room.
I mean, Jawan Johnson. A veteran, if nothing else, certainly at that position. But it doesn't seem that it seems that last year was like his first real full season. So we'll see if he does that. I mean, only 3 touchdowns last season, Tad. I mean, you also did have 2 fumbles. Um, Obviously, 2022 was probably his best season
Yeah.
on paper, but yeah, only the 3 touchdowns last year. So you'll want to kind of maybe see a touchdown or two more out of Jawan Johnson.
And you do have to remember last year, I mean, they were also dealing with the quarterback situation, Derek Carr being injured. He's obviously retired now, and it's going to be interesting to see how the offense bounces back.
Yeah,
What's your
especially
take?
with the Saints offensive line. I mean, they got plenty of potential with 4 former first round picks in the mix. PFF does have them ranked at number 22 on their ranking chart. They're saying that Eric McCoy might be their best player with an overall 94.4 grade. Um, But the biggest story for the offensive line, Tad, is it's I would definitely I mean it's probably and this is a division where you have the Carolina Panthers, and I would rank this offensive line probably to even be below them. Um, yeah, it's just not going to be a good story even in that department. But you do have really good news with rookie Kelvin Banks Jr. And if he lives up to his draft potential, I mean, this offensive line gets immediately better. So the biggest X factor for the Saints offensive line is leaning heavily on their rookie left tackle, Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, who you went out and drafted in the first round, ninth overall. So major, big, high expectations for Kelvin Banks Jr., the rookie left tackle.
Yes, definitely a very young offensive line there. You have Banks that you drafted. You also have Taliese Fuaga, your first round draft pick a season ago. So he's going into his second year. So we're going to see if they can develop him, if they can develop Banks as well. So a lot of opportunity for improvement by the offensive line. I know their rankings, it's not exactly might be what you want to see the last several years, but the potential is there.
Yeah, the potential is there. And I mean, yeah, the biggest question is can Doug Nussmeier, who was hired to kind of put this things together previously, the Phillies quarterback coach or the Eagles quarterback coach, I'm sorry. But yeah, can he come out here? If you're being the former quarterback coach, can he develop these QBs? Can he still have his wide receivers be the leaders they need to be, including Alvin Kamara? Can you revamp that tight end room? And most importantly, what can you get from your very young offensive line? So Doug Nussmeier has a lot on his plate this season. Yeah. So shifting gears now to the defense. I would probably say realistically, when I look at the Saints defense, not a lot of pieces that majorly stand out to me. I mean, you got Granderson, you got Reed, you got Davis even. I guess, yeah, let's start there. Demario Davis, former player out of Arkansas, former third rounder. He definitely is kind of past his prime now. But back in his prime, I mean, he was one of the more upper tier linebackers in the league. But now, I mean, he definitely. The thing is, like Demario Davis. I mean, even past his prime, is still a very serviceable linebacker in the league.
Oh yeah, no question. I mean, a very interesting linebacker room. He's obviously by far the most experienced player. And also I'm interested to see if they can get much out of Chase Young. I know he's had an interesting start to his career. He's been around. I know he was with Washington, the number 2 pick in the 2020 draft, and it didn't quite go as well as he would have hoped. So can he find some potential here? So this will be what now his second full year with the Saints. So I'm interested to see if he can continue to get his career going the way he wants to. He played 17 games all for a full season the first time last year. So if he can stay healthy and continue on track, I think we could see some improvement there as well.
Yeah, we certainly could see some improvement. Um, I'm also really liking Pete Warner, the former linebacker out of Ohio State, or the former Ohio State alum. Julian Blackman, I mean, I kind of want to see a bit more development out of him. Um, going into his sixth season now, the free safety. Same with Justin Reed, former Chief. So Justin Reed obviously used to play for um, somewhat might call a high level football team. So he transfers from that to this. Um, yeah, yeah. So yeah, gonna be very interesting to see what Justin Reed can provide for his leadership in the locker room and especially in this secondary.
Yeah, gonna be an interesting secondary for sure. I'm really interested in how second-year player Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama, the second round pick, looks in his second season. He's one of the younger players starting on the defense, actually the youngest player, at least the least experienced player in terms of NFL years. So I'm interested to see if he can develop, if he can continue to make the plays that he made at Alabama that made him such a high level draft pick. And I think he's one of the more underrated players, and I think he could have a lot of potential, and I think he could have a breakout year in the coming years.
Yeah, I mean Kool-Aid McKinstry. Obviously, there was a lot of hype coming out of from him last season out of Alabama, and just I mean, what a remarkable name, Kool-Aid McKinstry. So, but yeah, obviously, Tad, he's still on the up and coming developmental stages of his
Mhm.
career. Um, I honestly believe he can turn into one of the more premier elite cornerbacks in the league if you give him a few seasons on this team. I
I
just
think so
don't think
too.
he's there yet. They drafted him for a reason. They drafted him high. They believe in him. They want to invest in
Mhm.
him. I mean, Saints fans are just going to have to be extremely patient going forward here. I mean, you definitely had you had a run for a couple of decades there with Drew Brees of making multiple playoff runs and everything like that. So, unfortunately, Saints fans, every franchise goes through it. Even my beloved Broncos have gone through it several times. You have to kind of go through the carousel where it's your turn to be one of the bad teams, and unfortunately, that's just probably how it's going to be for the Saints fans. But if you are a Saints fan listening to this, there's a lot of hope for the future. There's a lot of hope for the long term future. That is for sure because you got Kellen Moore, you got
Mhm.
Nussmeyer in there at the offensive coordinator spot. At the defensive coordinator spot, you just brought in Brandon Staley. He previously served as the head coach for the Chargers. He has experience as a defensive coordinator. He notably led the LA Rams to a number one ranked total defense in 2020. So Brandon Staley is going to have a massive job
Yeah.
coming in here, this season to see what he can piece together. PFF does unfortunately have the Saints defensive line ranked last. Um, Carl Granderson paced the defensive line in snaps and PFF overall grade in 2024. So, yeah, obviously they're going to look to him for tremendous leadership, him to be able to go out there, get to the quarterback, lead these young guys, mentor these young guys. Um, they're saying that the next best player might just be Chase Young. Yeah, and I mean Chase Young, number 99, the edge rusher, former first round, second overall pick out of Ohio State. Um, yeah, obviously a tremendous rookie season, but he's kind of going through his growing pains now in his career. So you kind of want to see if like Young can kind of, given the situation and everything going on with New Orleans, can he be one of the guys? The Saints are going to need it's going to be a brutal season for the Saints, but when it comes to Chase Young, I mean, can you take advantage of this time to just keep developing yourself, keep increasing your stats, working on that. Brian Brees, kind of want to see some improvement out of him as well. PFF has him on a very low run defense grade of 28. So you're definitely going to, saying that, you kind of want to improve on the run tackling there. So that's going to be a major question mark when I look at all this, Tad, is the Saints are going to have a very hard time stopping the run with this front seven. And even in the secondary, that's still very young and unexperienced and or like you either have very young guys or a lot of players past their prime.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing. I know they also have Cam Jordan, of course, one of the more feared defenders on the line back in the day, and he's also well past his prime as well. So, can he provide some level of play while also mentoring some of the younger players on the team. I think that's another big question, and I think they're going to need a lot of good mentorship to move the team along.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you're basically, if you are the Saints front office, you're paying these older guys that you have on your roster to be mentors. I mean, that's what you're paying them for at this point because this thing's not going to happen again for another few seasons, Tad, really. So you're paying Cameron Jordan to basically go out there and be a leader. You're paying, Justin Reed to go out there and be a mentor, So now the big question is, can they do that?
Yes, that is definitely the big question when it comes to the Saints.
Blake Gruppy will be called upon to kick the field goals this season. And yeah, I mean, Blake Gruppy, one of the more, I mean, honestly, last season, 87.1 field goal percentage. He played in all of his 17 of his games. He even had a long of 57 yards. So some improvement for Mr. Blake Gruppy, even one of the more upper tier kickers from a fantasy perspective as well. So, yeah. And then we got Justin Turnip, who is going to be called upon to punt the football. I mean, yeah, Justin Turnip, he's going into or I'm sorry, James Burnip. I apologize. He is a rookie who has gotten drafted out of Alabama. In his first preseason game already, he punted the ball 5 times, averaging 37.6 yards. He even had a 49-yard punt. 3 of them were inside the 20-yard line. So some already exciting things out of the punter, James Burnip. And we will probably be seeing a lot of him on the field. So Saints fans, get to know your punter, James Burnip, the rookie out of Alabama.
Yep, James Burnip, definitely one of the punters. They also have Kai Kroger from South Carolina. So there might be a bit of a punter battle here. He had 5 punts so far in the preseason, 47.6 average. So I'd say Burnett probably the favorite early on, so gonna be interesting there. I do want to touch on Rashid Shaheed as a return man. I think he's a very high level return man, top 10 in the league, I'd argue. So they are set up there. I know there's been a lot of concerns with the Saints. I do want to mention that one thing as a positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Rashid Shaheed to me, I mean, he's definitely a premier runner when it comes to the return game of the league. But Tad, if the Saints are to, you know, eventually get over the hump, go the distance, they're still quite a ways away from winning the Super Bowl, sadly. But what's the one key piece that they need to really go the distance?
One of the other veterans on this team is Zach Wood, the long snapper. They need him to use his experience to move them along. He's been with the team since 2017, so he's been through a lot of ups and downs. He started off early on. He played a little bit of defensive end as well, but now he is a long snapper. He won the job from the Saints in 2017. He signed a 4-year contract with them in 2023, so he's signed for the next few years. So he is definitely one of the more experienced long snappers in the league. So that's somebody that's on the team that has a lot of experience. So can he help push them in the right direction? We will see.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, long snappers. I mean, you definitely need your long snappers to, do what you can do in this league. So, yeah, Zach Wood, the long snapper for the New Orleans Saints. I'm not really big on this team, Tad. Like I said, I'm probably going to predict 3 to 4 wins. I'd say 2 to 4.
I was also thinking of the 2 to 4 wins. And honestly, for the Saints, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I know it's not going to be fun to watch. It's not going to be easy to see the Saints play the way they are if you're a Saints fan, but the last several years they've kind of been teetering around mediocrity, and now they're sort of going the other direction and they're working on a rebuild. So hopefully for them, they can earn a very high pick in the draft and continue to move their franchise forward.
Well, you don't want to necessarily say earn. I mean, I don't think the goal is to
Yeah.
get the first pick, but
Earn isn't, that's not the right word. Earn isn't the right word, but hopefully I mean, for them, if they can get a good draft pick, that would help move their franchise forward. But yeah, earn's not the best word.
yeah, as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow here on the Gridiron Glory, bringing you exclusive long snapper reports and everything else in between. Thank you for watching.